Merhavia. It was established on an ancient mound, and finds from the Canaanite period were discovered there. The Crusaders built a fortress on the site, and there was a small Arab village called Ful. The lands of the area were bought by Yehoshua Hankin. The idea of cooperation was conceived by Professor Franz Oppenheimer, a Zionist who worked in medicine, economics and society, and was influenced by socialism and communism. The principles of cooperation were, to establish a settlement on national and not private land, joint ownership of the means of production, and a differential wage that each worker earns according to his ability. The idea was supported by Herzl. In 1911, the first Jewish Zionist settlement was established in the Jezreel Valley, the cooperative in Merhavia. Alexander Brawald designed many buildings in the country, established and managed the Faculty of Architecture at the Technion. Inspired by European-style fortified farms, he designed what was called the Great Yard. The yard included residential buildings, a dining room and kitchen, a livestock building for cows and horses and mules, a workshop, a grain barn, and a warehouse. In the First World War in Merhavia, the Bavarian squadron of the German Air Force arrived, coming to help the Turks in the war against the British. Crew members settled on the farm, built an aircraft runway, with 12 Rampler 4 aircraft, which were double-seater aircraft with a double wing. They were mainly engaged in aerial photography. The relations between the squadron members and the residents of Merhavia were good, with mutual help. In order to spend the evening in Haifa, the air crew installed on the freight train of the Valley train an engine and a propeller of one of the planes, and so on the train tracks they traveled with tremendous speed to Haifa. After spending all night, the next morning, they spun the propeller and drove back to base. When the British Army arrived, the Germans left. The cooperative operated for about 8 years and disbanded for economic and social reasons. Today, many of the regenerating kibbutzim are moving to a similar socio-economic format. The place continued to be used by settler groups. One of its members was Golda Meir, who later became the Prime Minister of Israel. In 1924, Moshev Merhavia was established near the courtyard, and in 1929, the Hashomer Hatzer people established Kibbutz Merhavia on the site. Among the founders of Kibbutz Merhavia was Meir Yari, who was also one of the founders and leaders of Hashomer Hatzer, the Kibbutz Ha-Artzi movement, and the Mapam Party. During the War of Independence it was bombed by Iraqi planes. Today the Great Courtyard as a National Heritage Site and a visitor center has been established.